His brother got a car, and he got a toilet bowl at his own graduation, and he just stood up without a word, no screaming. He walked past the toasts, the tears, the fake hugs, and walked out. And the next morning, he became the one they feared the most, but they did not know who he really was. So get this, I got a box of cleaning supplies for my graduation. That's not a metaphor. That's literally what my parents handed me after my younger brother Liam got a brand new car and a $1,000 weekend celebration like he cured cancer. Me? Paper towels, dish soap, sponges. Like I was a 1950s housewife reincarnated in male form. I wish I was exaggerating. My name's Oliver, I'm 26, and if you've ever been the designated responsible sibling in a family where the golden child can do no wrong, you already know how this ends. Or at least, you think you do. You don't. Because this isn't just about favoritism. It's about what happens when the quiet one stops playing nice. Let me rewind for context. My parents are the kind of old-school people who believe suffering builds character, but only for some people. Mostly me. Liam, my younger brother by 4 years, has been skating through life like it's one long sponsored vacation. Failed math class twice? Here's a new iPhone. Got fired from his part-time job? He's just under so much pressure. Meanwhile, I once brought home a 92 on a physics exam and got told I was slipping. I should have seen the graduation disaster coming. Liam had barely passed, I'm talking. His diploma was basically a participation trophy. But my parents threw him a party with a catered buffet and balloons that spelled out our star. I almost choked on my soda. Then came the moment I knew I'd remember for the rest of my life. They handed Liam the car keys. A sleek, black, brand new Civic. He screamed like he'd won a Grammy. My mom cried. My dad hugged him so hard it looked like he was trying to squeeze out another kid. Then they turned to me. My mom smiled like she was about to do something holy. Oliver, she said, we didn't forget about you. You've been so responsible, and we thought this would really suit you. She handed me a box. Light. Small. Probably not car keys, but maybe something good? An Amazon gift card? Nope. I opened it. Cleaning supplies. Paper towels. A scrub brush. Bleach wipes. And a receipt. My jaw clicked. I looked up. My dad laughed. Now you can keep the house even cleaner. You've always been our little helper. Liam giggled. You're gonna make such a good husband someday, Ollie. My hand tightened around the box like I was gripping the neck of a snake. I said nothing. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and walked out the door without a word. No dramatics. No screaming. Just cold, clean exit. I walked for what felt like hours. I ended up at a park bench. Just sat there, watching people walk their dogs and act like life made sense. Then I called my best friend Jake. He didn't even let me finish the story before saying, dude, pack your stuff. Crash at mine. I did. 2 duffel bags. That's all it took to walk out of 26 years of being the family's janitor. For the first time in my life, I slammed a door they didn't expect to close. But that was just the prologue. The real story starts the next morning. Because when I woke up on Jake's couch, sunlight hitting my face like a slap, something in me shifted. I wasn't just done. I was nuclear. I wasn't going to scream at my family. I wasn't going to block their numbers. That would be too easy. Too expected. No, I was going to rebuild. Quietly. Ruthlessly. And when they eventually came crawling back, because of course they would, I'd show them what useless really looked like. Step 1, find a job. Step 2, start the side hustle. Step 3, never go back. I didn't tell anyone. Not even Jake. But every spare minute not spent selling corporate software was spent building something on the side, something they'd never understand, but that was going to pay off in ways they couldn't imagine. And all the while, I saved the box of cleaning supplies. I didn't use them. I didn't throw them away. I just left them on a shelf in my closet. A reminder of who I used to be, and why that person would never exist again. 3 months after I left, I got the first call from my mom. I didn't answer. She followed up with a text. Then another. Then a voicemail. Hey sweetheart, just wanted to check in. Hope you're doing well. We miss you. Things are a little rough around here. Your brother's having a hard time adjusting to his new responsibilities. You know how he is. Anyway, call me back when you get a chance. Love you. I stared at the voicemail for a full minute, then deleted it. No reply. Not because I was angry, though, yeah, I was, but because I knew what this was. They weren't missing me. They were missing the human mop who used to clean up their messes for free. I was done being the unpaid labor. By then, I had my 9-to-5 gig, Yeah, but my side hustle? It had legs. What started as small freelance projects had grown into a steady stream of clients. Nights and weekends were a blur of deadlines and caffeine, but it was mine. Every invoice. Every dollar. Every win. For the first time, I wasn't surviving, I was building. And that scared the hell out of them. How do I know? Because the messages started changing. Less sweet. More desperate. Oliver, please. Your father and I were trying. But the bills are stacking up. Liam's car needs maintenance, and we thought you could maybe help out? Just a little? Ah, yes. The inevitable return of financial savior Oliver. They'd taken out a loan for Liam's car, remember? A loan they couldn't afford. And now they wanted me to cover the fallout. I didn't even dignify it with a response. I wasn't mad anymore. I was amused. The kid they gave cleaning supplies was now the one they were hoping would save their sinking ship. Poetic, isn't it? Then Liam texted. Hey Ollie, look, I know things are weird. But I could really use your help right now. I'm kinda drowning here. Can we talk? My thumb hovered over the keyboard. What I wanted to write was, you mean now that you've burned through your free ride, you suddenly remember the brother you treated like your butler? What I wrote instead was, I'm busy. 2 words. No punctuation. He replied instantly. Busy with what? You working a real job now? I put my phone down, took a deep breath, then laughed. He still thought I was the same guy he used to mock. Still thought this was a game he could win with a smirk and a half apology. It was adorable. Here's where it got really interesting. One day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Oliver, my dad's voice. Dry. Careful. Like he wasn't sure if I'd hang up. Heard you're doing pretty well. I said nothing. He continued. We've made some mistakes. Especially with how we handled your graduation. Your mother and I were sorry. We were wrong. I blinked. Did he just say sorry? The man who once said, gratitude builds character, when I asked why Liam got a PS5 and I got socks. This was new. This was strategic. They were broke. They were scared. And they wanted their workhorse back. I let him talk. He rambled about Liam's college struggles, the mounting debt, the tension in the house. He even said something about refinancing. Then came the line I'll never forget. We were hoping, maybe you'd come back. Help us out. Like old times. Like old times. As if I'd forgotten standing there holding a box of sponges while Liam revved the engine of his new Civic. I took a deep breath. And said, no. Dead quiet on the other end. No, he repeated. That's right, I said calmly. You raised me to be responsible. To handle my own problems. Now I'm doing exactly that. And you should too. Another silence. Then he said, I see. And hung up. That night, I pulled the cleaning supply box off my shelf. Took everything out. And dropped it all in the trash. Not because I was angry. But because I didn't need the reminder anymore. They had handed me that box thinking they were giving me a role. A job. An identity. They had no idea they were giving me a fire. And now, I was the one holding the match. A month passed. No calls. No texts. For a second, I thought maybe they got the message. Maybe they finally accepted that I was gone, done, out. But I should have known better. Because manipulators don't vanish, they reload. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was heading back from a client meeting, iced coffee in hand, sun in my face, actually feeling good for once. Then I saw the message. From Liam, family dinner. Just us. Mom says it's important. Please come. No pressure. We just want to talk. For a full minute, I just stared at the screen. No pressure? That line alone made me suspicious. But some reckless part of me, the old me, the one trained to crave approval, was curious. What could they possibly say? So I replied, fine. 1 hour. Biggest mistake of the year. The moment I walked in, I knew it was a setup. Not a warm one. A cold, tactical kind. Liam was in the living room, dressed up like he was trying to look responsible, collared shirt, tucked in smugness. My mom had cooked. Like, cooked. Lasagna. Garlic bread. Even the stupid salad I used to like. They were all smiles. All fake. We sat. Ate. Made small talk. I watched every move like I was playing poker with pickpockets. Halfway through, my dad cleared his throat. Oliver, we're glad you came. We've been thinking a lot. About what you said. About what you've been through. My eyes narrowed. I waited. We want to apologize, he said. Then my mom chimed in. We didn't realize how unfair we were being. We took you for granted. And we're sorry. That last part actually sounded almost real. Almost. But then she added, we just want things back to the way they were. And there it was. The hook. They didn't want to change. They wanted reset. They wanted me back in the unpaid role of family maintenance man. I leaned back in my chair, fork down, and just looked at them. Back to the way they were? Liam, always the opportunist, jumped in. It's just that we've all made mistakes, bro. And I've been thinking maybe it's time we all step up. You know? Together. I raised an eyebrow. You? Step up? He nodded. I've been applying to jobs. Getting serious. I didn't believe him for a second. But then he played his ace. I even sold the car. I blinked. What? Yeah, he said. Didn't tell them yet. But I sold it. Paid off some of the loan. I'm trying, man. I swear. Okay. That almost hit. But my instincts wouldn't shut up. So after dinner, while everyone was pretending to be healed and whole again, I excused myself to the bathroom. And that's when I saw it. A folder on the hallway table. Half covered by junk mail. I don't know why I looked, but I did. Inside, paperwork for a second loan. Recently taken out. My dad's name on it. For a used car. Liam never sold the Civic. He upgraded. I walked back in, quiet. Calm. Nuclear. Hey Liam, I said casually. That new loan, who's it for? He froze. My mom turned pale. My dad looked like someone just showed him the devil's tax return. I dropped the folder on the table. You lied. Liam stammered. I was going to tell you. I laughed. Actually laughed. Loud and sharp and bitter. You people really thought you could run the same play again? Oliver, please, my mom said, standing up. We were just trying to. No, I snapped. You were trying to bait me. Again. Make me feel needed. Guilty. Responsible. I turned to Liam. And you? You've learned nothing. You've just gotten better at lying. His jaw clenched. You're not better than us, man. I don't need to be better, I said. I just need to be gone. I didn't even grab my coat. I walked out the door, left it wide open behind me, and didn't look back once. That night, I blocked all three of them. Phone. Email. Socials. The only message I sent was one line, texted to Liam. When the world finally doesn't bend for you, remember, you bent it until it broke. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt done. Truly, finally, done. 6 months later, I was unrecognizable. New apartment. New clothes. More clients than I could handle. My side hustle? Now my full-time gig. I was making triple what I used to earn, finally breathing air that didn't smell like guilt and bleach wipes. And I didn't hear from them. Not a call. Not a knock. Not even a burner email. I assumed they were still spiraling, tangled up in debt and drama. But I didn't care. Not in a cold, heartless way, just in that beautiful, healthy way where you finally stop bleeding for people who cut you on purpose. I even considered therapy. I mean, almost scheduled it twice. But then, one rainy Thursday, I got a letter. Not a bill. Not a flyer. A letter. Actual handwriting. Sloppy. Familiar. No return address. Just my name. Oliver. The second I saw it, something in my chest twisted. I sat on my couch, stared at it like it might explode. Then I opened it. Inside was a single page. No greeting. No signature. Just one line. You're not who you think you are. I stared at it for 5 minutes straight, then flipped the page. Nothing. I checked the envelope again. No clue who sent it. No stamp. Just, placed. What did that mean? Who wrote this? What did they mean by it? I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I started digging. Birth certificate. Old family albums. The filing cabinet my mom used to keep receipts and tax junk in. I remembered the lot combination like it was tattooed behind my eyes. I still had photos on an old hard drive from before I left. And that's when I saw it. A photo from my second birthday party. Balloon animals, cake, a weird magician with uneven eyebrows. Everyone was there: Mom, Dad, a much younger Liam. But in the corner of the photo, half out of frame, was someone I didn't recognize. A woman. Late 20s. Blonde. Wearing scrubs. Holding me. Not my mom. And not smiling. That was weird enough. But then I checked the date. The photo was from 3 weeks before my actual birthday. How could there be a party before I turned 2? More digging. More questions. I found the scanned copy of my birth certificate my mom sent me once when I needed it for college loans. Except now I looked at it closer. Date issued, 2 years after my birth. Why? Why would a certificate be reissued that late? And why the hell was the hospital name scratched out? My hands were shaking. This wasn't about cleaning supplies or favoritism anymore. This was something else. Something buried. I needed answers. I drove back to the house. I know. I said I'd never go back. But this wasn't about them anymore. This was about me. When I pulled up, everything looked the same. Except quieter. Deader. The grass hadn't been cut. Liam's new car wasn't in the driveway. The porch light was busted. I rang the bell. No answer. I knocked. Still nothing. Then I checked the side gate. Unlocked. Walked around back. Slid the patio door. Also unlocked. I stepped inside. Empty. Furniture gone. Dust on every surface. A stack of unopened mail by the door. And in the center of the living room, a single box. Labeled in black Sharpie. Oliver, do not open. My blood turned to ice. Of course I opened it. Inside? Photos. Newspaper clippings. And at the very bottom, documents. Adoption papers. My name. Different birth parents. Sealed court forms with my parents' signatures. And one sticky note, yellowed and fading. We weren't going to tell you. You were the calm one. You could handle it. Handle what? That I wasn't their real son? That Liam was? That all the favoritism wasn't just bias, it was biology? That all those years I thought I was just the responsible one. I was the replacement. I dropped the box. Just let it fall. My breath was coming in short, ugly bursts. Everything made sense. And nothing did. The graduation. The car. The cleaning supplies. The manipulations. The silence. The apology trap. They never saw me as their son. Not really. I was the patch on the hole. The duct tape on their broken family. And now, I was done playing the part. I didn't go home that night. I didn't go anywhere. I drove around aimlessly, past empty gas stations and neon-lit diners, gripping the wheel like it was the last thing tethering me to the planet. In the box behind me sat my entire rewritten childhood clippings, contracts, paperwork that proved I was never theirs in the way I thought. They adopted me. Not out of love. Out of necessity. They needed a kid. A patch. Something to quiet the echoes of a marriage already dying. And when the miracle happened, when Liam came along, I became a footnote. A placeholder. A permanent reminder that their real son had finally arrived. It took 3 days before I decided what to do. I didn't want revenge. I wanted confrontation. So I found them. They hadn't moved far, just into some rundown townhouse in a worse neighborhood. I knocked. No plan. No warning. Just rage wrapped in composure. My mom opened the door. Pale. Hollow. Oh, she breathed. Oliver. I held up the folder. You want to talk now? We sat at a tiny kitchen table covered in bills and unopened mail. My dad shuffled in slowly, like he'd aged 10 years in 6 months. Liam wasn't there. Where is he? I asked flatly. In rehab, Dad said quietly. That stopped me. What? He had a breakdown, my mom whispered. After everything fell apart. The debt. The pressure. We didn't realize. I sat back. Rehab. Liam, the golden child. The untouchable. The one who never knew failure. It finally hit him. Not because he changed. Because the world finally stopped bending. I dropped the folder on the table. Let's talk about me now, I said. My mom flinched. My dad sighed like he was preparing to be executed. I laid it out. The birth certificate. The court documents. The fake birthdays. The lies. I was a kid, I said. And you built my entire life on a lie. We were going to tell you, my mom said weakly. When? After another decade of scrubbing your floors and funding Liam's disaster career? My dad said nothing. That was worse. So I kept going. You didn't treat me like a son. You treated me like a spare tire. A seat filler. That's not true, Mom whispered. I laughed. Then what was the box of cleaning supplies, Mom? A metaphor? She started to cry. But I didn't stop. You thought I wouldn't find out. Because I was quiet. Because I didn't fight back. You thought I'd swallow it forever. I stood up. No more. They looked up at me like strangers. Because I wasn't Oliver the helper anymore. I was Oliver, son of someone else. And I had the paperwork to prove it. I left the folder there. Told them I didn't want money, contact, or closure. You're not my parents, I said. You're just people who rented me for a few years. Then I walked out. No tears. No hug. Just silence behind me and clarity in front of me. 3 weeks later, I found her. My biological mother. Her name was Claire. She lived in Oregon. Quiet town. Owned a bookstore. She didn't cry when I introduced myself. She just nodded, stepped aside, and said, "Come in. I was wondering when you'd find me." We talked for hours. No dramatics. No cliches. Just truth. She'd been young, pressured, scared. The adoption wasn't her choice. And she'd never stopped looking. "I followed your graduation on Facebook," she said quietly. "Saw that post with the car and the cleaning supplies. I cried for 3 days. That broke me more than anything else. Someone had been watching, caring, from afar. Not because they had to, because they wanted to. It's been 2 years now. I run my own business. Financially stable. Emotionally, getting there. Claire and I talk weekly. Sometimes I visit. Sometimes we just send memes. Liam and I haven't spoken. I heard he's clean. Working at a mechanic shop. Living small. Good. Let him learn what life looks like without Annette. As for my old family, they've stopped trying. Stopped calling. Stopped hoping. Which is perfect, because I've stopped hurting. I'm not their Oliver. I never was. And now I'm exactly who I was always meant to be. On my own terms.